North Korea's public image is one of isolation and poverty, but behind closed doors, Kim Jong-un lives a life of unimaginable luxury. His secret parties are the stuff of legend, lavish affairs where the elite gather to indulge in excess while the average North Korean struggles to survive. Get ready to be shocked by the stark contrast between Kim's public persona and his private indulgences. This is a world few have seen, and it's about to be exposed. A childhood of privilege. Imagine being 7 years old and having your own modified car to drive around in. That was just one of the perks young Kim enjoyed. He also had a personal sushi chef who would accompany him on fishing trips. These weren't just father-son bonding experiences. They were extravagant affairs that showcased the vast gulf between the ruling family and the average citizen. Kim's childhood was a constant stream of indulgences. He had personal chefs catering to his every culinary whim, clothes tailor-made to fit his growing frame, and an endless array of lavish toys at his disposal. While children across North Korea were facing severe malnutrition during the famine that began when Kim was around 10, he never knew a moment of want or need. This insulation from reality had a profound impact on Kim's worldview. From his earliest years, he was treated as a demigod, a status that was reinforced at every turn. The result? A young man who grew up believing that wealth and power were his birthright, with no concept of the struggles faced by those outside his gilded bubble. Anna Fifield, a journalist who has extensively researched the Kim family, describes the young Kim Jong-un as a spoiled brat. It's not hard to see why. When you're raised to believe you can have anything you want, it's bound to shape your expectations, not just as a child, but as a future leader. The contrast between Kim's upbringing and the lives of ordinary North Koreans couldn't be starker. While he was being chauffeured around in luxury vehicles and dining on the finest cuisine, millions of his future subjects were facing starvation. The famine that gripped North Korea in the mid-1990s is estimated to have killed hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of people. Yet Kim remained completely untouched by this national tragedy. This disparity wasn't just a matter of material comforts, it was a fundamental difference in how Kim experienced the world compared to his countrymen. While North Korean children were being taught to revere the Kim family as godlike figures, Kim himself was living that reality. He wasn't just told he was special, every aspect of his life reinforced that belief. The long-term effects of this upbringing are clear in Kim's leadership style today. His willingness to spend vast sums on luxury goods while his people suffer, his brutal suppression of any perceived threats to his power, and his insistence on being treated with godlike reverence all stem from those formative years. Swiss education. While most North Korean children were struggling to survive, Kim Jong-un was jetting off to Switzerland for his education. In the mid-1990s, at around 12 years old, Kim found himself in a world vastly different from the isolated regime he called home. But this taste of Western life didn't exactly turn him into a champion of democracy and freedom. Kim's time in Switzerland was shrouded in secrecy. He attended the International School of Bern under a false name, posing as the son of a North Korean diplomat. To his classmates and teachers, he was just another international student, but behind closed doors, he was being groomed for leadership. Imagine being a teenager and living a double life. On one hand, you're trying to fit in with your Swiss classmates, struggling with math homework and navigating social circles. On the other, you're the heir to a brutal dictatorship, carrying the weight of your family's legacy on your shoulders. It's a bizarre contradiction that shaped Kim's worldview in unexpected ways. You might think that exposure to Western democracy and freedoms would have opened Kim's eyes to alternative forms of government. But according to Anna Fifield, an expert on the Kim dynasty, it had the opposite effect. She states, his time in Switzerland must have taught him that if it wasn't for the family myth and family dynasty, he'd be a nobody. He would be another ordinary, chubby immigrant kid going to school and struggling with his math homework. This realization was likely a pivotal moment for young Kim. In North Korea, he was treated like a demigod. In Switzerland, he was just another face in the crowd. The stark contrast between these two realities drove home the importance of maintaining his family's iron grip on power. Kim's Swiss education wasn't just about academics, it was a crash course in the realities of life outside North Korea's carefully controlled bubble. He saw firsthand the prosperity and freedoms enjoyed by people in the West. But instead of inspiring him to bring similar opportunities to his own people, it seems to have reinforced his determination to maintain the status quo in North Korea. During his time in Switzerland, Kim was surrounded by a protective bubble of North Korean handlers posing as his parents. These guardians were overly doting and protective, further alienating him from the reality of ordinary life. While his classmates were learning independence, Kim was being cushioned from the real world, reinforcing his sense of superiority and entitlement. The contrast between Kim's experiences in Switzerland and the lives of ordinary North Koreans couldn't be starker. While he was living in relative comfort in one of the world's wealthiest countries, his future subjects were enduring a devastating famine. Millions were starving, but Kim remained insulated from this harsh reality. This disconnect between Kim's life and the suffering of his people has persisted into his leadership. His willingness to spend lavishly on luxury goods while his country struggles with poverty and food shortages can be traced back to this period of his life. The Swiss experience, rather than broadening his horizons, seems to have narrowed them. The rise to power. Kim Jong-un's rise to power wasn't exactly a smooth transition. It was more like a brutal Game of Thrones, North Korean style. After his father Kim Jong-il's death in 2011, Kim Jong-un wasted no time in showing the world, and more importantly, his potential rivals, that he meant business. Now, you might think that family ties would count for something in a dynastic regime like North Korea's. But Kim Jong-un quickly proved that blood isn't always thicker than water. In fact, sometimes it's more like gasoline on a fire. Take his uncle, Jang Song-taek, for example. Jang was considered a key figure in Kim's early days as leader, helping to guide the young ruler as he found his footing. But by 2013, Kim had apparently decided that Uncle Jang had outlived his usefulness. In a move that shocked even seasoned North Korea watchers, Kim had his uncle arrested, tried for treason, and executed. This wasn't just a family spat gone wrong, it was a clear message to anyone who might have been thinking of challenging Kim's authority. If he was willing to take out his own uncle, what chance did anyone else stand? But Kim wasn't done yet. In 2017, his half-brother Kim Jong-nam was assassinated in a Malaysian airport. Two women approached him and smeared VX nerve agent on his face, killing him within minutes. While North Korea denied involvement, few doubted that Kim Jong-un was behind the hit. These brutal moves weren't just about eliminating potential rivals, they were about sending a message. Kim was showing the world, and more importantly, the North Korean elite, that he was willing to do whatever it took to maintain his grip on power. Anna Fifield, a journalist who spent years studying the Kim dynasty, puts it bluntly: his number one goal, the thing he wakes up thinking about every day, is how to stay in power. Every decision Kim makes, every move he plots, it all comes back to this one overriding objective. Now, you might be wondering how Kim's childhood of privilege and his Swiss education factor into all this. Well, remember how we talked about Kim realizing in Switzerland that without his family name, he'd be a nobody? That lesson seems to have stuck with him. Kim's brutal rise to power shows that he understood one thing very clearly. In the world of North Korean politics, it's kill or be killed. His experiences abroad hadn't made him more open to the world. Instead, they'd reinforced his belief in the importance of maintaining his family's iron grip on power. Think about it. Kim had seen how people lived in the West. He knew the luxuries and freedoms that existed outside North Korea's borders. But instead of wanting to bring those things to his people, he chose to double down on the system that kept him at the top. Kim's actions during his rise to power weren't just about eliminating threats. They were about reshaping the North Korean elite in his image. By taking out established figures like his uncle, Kim was making room for a new generation of leaders, ones who owed their positions entirely to him. This approach to leadership, ruthless, calculating, and utterly self-serving, can be traced back to Kim's unique upbringing. Raised as a prince in a land of peasants, educated abroad but kept isolated from real connections, Kim developed a worldview where power was everything and loyalty was measured in blood. The violent purges that marked Kim's ascension weren't just about securing his position, they were about creating a climate of fear that would make future challenges to his rule unthinkable. In a way, Kim was using the same tactics his grandfather and father had used to maintain their power, but with a modern twist. The facade of North Korea. North Korea's public image is carefully crafted to portray a nation of unity, strength, and self-reliance. State media broadcasts show orderly parades, patriotic citizens, and a country seemingly unaffected by the outside world. But this facade couldn't be further from the truth, especially when it comes to the lavish lifestyle of its leader, Kim Jong-un. The world sees images of austere cityscapes, uniformed workers, and propaganda posters. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, Kim indulges in luxuries that would make even the most extravagant billionaires blush. It's a tale of two Koreas, one for the masses and another exclusively for Kim and his inner circle. While ordinary North Koreans struggle with food shortages and power outages, Kim lives in a world of plenty. His residences are more like palaces, equipped with everything from private movie theaters to indoor water parks. The contrast is staggering, and it's all made possible by a secret financial network known as Office 39. Office 39 is the beating heart of Kim's hidden world of wealth. This shadowy organization operates both legitimate and illicit businesses, funneling money directly to the Kim family's coffers. It's like a personal piggy bank for the supreme leader, but on a massive scale. Think of Office 39 as a combination of a multinational corporation and a criminal enterprise, all rolled into one and operating at the highest levels of the North Korean government. Its tentacles reach into everything from legal exports like seafood and minerals to more nefarious activities like drug trafficking and counterfeiting. The scale of Office 39's operations is mind-boggling. Intelligence officials estimate that it brings in anywhere from $500 million to $2 billion annually. That's a lot of cash for a country that's supposedly isolated from the global economy. And where does all this money go? Straight into funding Kim's extravagant lifestyle and keeping his regime in power. But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite international sanctions designed to cut off North Korea's funding sources, Office 39 continues to thrive. It's like a financial hydra, cut off one head and two more grow in its place. The organization has shown remarkable adaptability, constantly finding new ways to skirt regulations and keep the money flowing. A former Treasury official noted, "The sanctions have less to do with human rights abuses, but with the Kim family's ability to maintain its standard of living." This statement reveals the true purpose of Office 39. It's not about enriching the country, but about keeping Kim and his cronies living in the lap of luxury. The extent of this luxury is almost beyond belief. Reports indicate that in 2008 alone, the regime imported over 200 luxury cars. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Kim's shopping list reads like a billionaire's wish list. From high-end liquor to designer clothes, nothing is off limits. Meanwhile, the average North Korean citizen lives on less than $2 a day. The contrast between Kim's opulence and the poverty of his people is stark and deeply troubling. It's a system designed to keep power and wealth concentrated in the hands of a select few, while the masses struggle to survive. Office 39. Office 39 is the secret engine powering Kim Jong-un's lavish lifestyle. This shadowy organization operates like a combination of a multinational corporation and an international crime syndicate, all controlled by the North Korean regime. It's responsible for generating billions in revenue through both legitimate and illicit means, funneling money directly to Kim and his inner circle. The scale of Office 39's operations is staggering. Intelligence estimates suggest it brings in anywhere from $500 million to $2 billion annually. That's an enormous sum for a country supposedly cut off from the global economy. This financial network allows Kim to maintain his opulent lifestyle while his people struggle with poverty and food shortages. Office 39 has its fingers in countless pies. On the legitimate side, it oversees exports of everything from seafood to minerals. But it's the illegal activities that really rake in the cash. We're talking drug manufacturing, weapons trafficking, and even counterfeiting foreign currencies. It's like a one-stop shop for all your dictator funding needs. One of the most fascinating aspects of Office 39 is its ability to adapt and evolve. Despite years of international sanctions designed to cut off North Korea's funding sources, this organization continues to thrive. It's constantly finding new ways to circumvent regulations and keep the money flowing. When one revenue stream gets blocked, they simply divert to another. The involvement of Kim's sister, Yo Jong, adds another layer of intrigue to Office 39's operations. US intelligence officials have linked her directly to the financial dealings of this secretive organization. It's believed she plays a crucial role in managing the flow of money from both legal and illegal activities. This family involvement underscores just how important Office 39 is to the Kim regime's survival. Yo Jong's marriage to Choi Song, who's also connected to Office 39, further cements the family's control over this financial network. It's a classic case of keeping it all in the family, ensuring that the vast sums generated by Office 39 remain firmly under Kim Jong-un's control. The methods used by Office 39 to bypass international sanctions are both clever and concerning. North Korean diplomats are reportedly given fundraising quotas expected to generate income through both legitimate and illicit means. This money is then funneled back to support the regime's elite lifestyle. It's a system that turns every North Korean embassy into a potential front for illegal activities. Office 39's reach extends far beyond North Korea's borders. The organization has been implicated in numerous international incidents over the years. There have been attempts to smuggle luxury goods into North Korea, fraudulent insurance scams, and even efforts to sell arms to terrorist groups. It's a global operation that operates in the shadows, always one step ahead of international law enforcement. The US Treasury Department has targeted Office 39 with sanctions, highlighting its role in supporting the Kim regime through illicit economic activities. But these efforts have had limited success in curbing the organization's activities. Office 39 has proven remarkably resilient, adapting its methods and finding new ways to generate revenue. The extravagant lifestyle of Kim Jong-un. His extravagant spending habits would make even the most ostentatious billionaires blush. Let's take a closer look at just how Kim splurges his nation's wealth on personal indulgences. Imagine dropping £122,000 on women's undergarments in a single year. That's exactly what Kim did, according to reports. To put that in perspective, the average North Korean citizen earns less than £4.40 per day. Kim spent on lingerie what would take an ordinary North Korean over 75 years to earn. But Kim's lavish spending doesn't stop at underwear. He also allocated a staggering £2,675,000 for spirits and liqueurs, mostly imported from China. That's enough to buy over 100,000 bottles of high-end champagne. Meanwhile, many North Koreans struggle to afford basic necessities like food and clean water. Kim's taste for luxury extends to his living quarters as well. His main residence, the Ryongseong residence, is a testament to opulence in a country plagued by poverty. This sprawling compound is more like a small city than a home, complete with amenities that would make a five-star resort jealous. The Ryongseong residence boasts its own swimming pool, not just any pool, but one that rivals Olympic-sized facilities. Nearby, a state-of-the-art spa offers Kim and his inner circle a place to relax and unwind after a hard day of running a dictatorship. But perhaps the most outrageous feature is the horse racing track. Yes, you read that right. Kim has his own private racecourse within the compound. These luxuries stand in stark contrast to the living conditions of average North Koreans. While Kim lounges by his private pool, many of his citizens lack access to clean water. As he enjoys gourmet meals prepared by personal chefs, millions of North Koreans face chronic food shortages and malnutrition. The inequality doesn't end there. Kim's regime imports significant quantities of luxury items like chocolate and alcohol, while spending minimal amounts on food and hygiene products for the general population. It's a level of disparity that's hard to comprehend. Kim's extravagant tastes extend to his beverage choices as well. He has a well-documented love for high-end alcohol, particularly Cristal champagne and Hennessy cognac. These aren't just occasional indulgences. Reports suggest that Kim spends millions annually on imported spirits. A North Korean defector revealed that Kim maintains this lavish lifestyle despite the dire economic situation in the country. While citizens face extreme poverty and food shortages, Kim continues to live like a king. It's a situation that highlights the vast gulf between the ruling elite and the general population in North Korea. Kim's luxury spending isn't limited to his personal indulgences. He's known to shower his loyal supporters with expensive gifts, a tactic used to maintain their allegiance. High-ranking officials might receive luxury cars, while military leaders could be gifted expensive watches or other status symbols. This system of reward and indulgence extends to Kim's infamous pleasure squad, a group of young women selected for their looks and loyalty to entertain the supreme leader and his inner circle. The existence of this group further underscores the decadence of Kim's lifestyle and the exploitation inherent in his regime. The secret parties. Kim Jong-un's secret parties are the stuff of legend. While the average North Korean citizen struggles to survive, Kim and his inner circle indulge in extravagant gatherings that would make even the most decadent billionaire blush. These aren't your typical office parties. They're lavish affairs designed to showcase Kim's power, reinforce loyalty, and provide a much-needed escape from the pressures of running a dictatorship. The guest list for these exclusive events reads like a who's who of North Korean elite. High-ranking military officials, top government bureaucrats, and even select foreign dignitaries are among the lucky few to receive an invitation. It's a privilege that comes with both perks and risks. Attendance is mandatory, and falling out of favor at one of these parties could have dire consequences. The venues for Kim's secret soirees are as impressive as the guest list. While the exact locations are kept under wraps, reports suggest they often take place at Kim's various luxury compounds. The Ryeongsong residence, with its private pool and horse racing track, is a likely candidate. Imagine sipping expensive champagne by an Olympic-sized pool while armed guards patrol the perimeter. That's just another Tuesday night for Kim and his cronies. The entertainment at these parties is nothing short of extraordinary. Reports from defectors and intelligence sources paint a picture of excess that's hard to fathom. Gourmet meals prepared by world-class chefs, endless flows of top-shelf liquor, and performances by hand-picked entertainers are just the beginning. Kim's infamous pleasure squad, young women selected for their beauty and loyalty, are also said to be present, adding a darker element to the festivities. But these parties aren't just about having a good time. They serve a crucial purpose in maintaining Kim's iron grip on power. By lavishing his inner circle with luxuries they can't get anywhere else, Kim reinforces their loyalty to him and his regime. It's a classic carrot and stick approach. The parties are the carrot, and the ever-present threat of execution or imprisonment is the stick. The security measures surrounding these events are extreme, to say the least. Electric fences, minefields, and state-of-the-art surveillance systems create a nearly impenetrable barrier around the party venues. Underground facilities provide additional protection and privacy. It's like Fort Knox, but with more champagne and karaoke. Foreign guests at these parties offer a rare glimpse into Kim's world. While their presence is carefully managed, these outsiders provide valuable insights into the regime's inner workings. A diplomat who attended one such gathering described it as surreal, a bizarre mix of opulence and paranoia, where every conversation feels monitored and every smile seems forced. The contrast between these lavish affairs and the daily lives of ordinary North Koreans is stark. While Kim and his guests feast on imported delicacies, millions of his citizens struggle with food shortages and malnutrition. The electricity powering these all-night parties could light up entire towns that regularly experience blackouts. It's a level of inequality that's hard to comprehend. The dark side. The pleasure squad isn't just a rumor or urban legend, it's a very real institution within Kim's regime, with roots tracing back to his grandfather, Kim Il-sung. Every year, 25 young women are selected to join this exclusive group, tasked with providing entertainment and companionship to Kim and his inner circle. The selection process for the pleasure squad is as stringent as it is disturbing. Authorities scout for candidates by visiting schools across North Korea, looking for girls who meet their exacting standards. Physical appearance is paramount, but it's not the only criteria. Family background is scrutinized to ensure absolute loyalty to the regime. Once potential candidates are identified, they undergo a series of invasive checks. Medical examinations are conducted to confirm their virginity, a non-negotiable requirement for joining the squad. It's a process that strips these young women of their dignity and autonomy, reducing them to objects for the regime's pleasure. The age of these recruits is particularly troubling. Many are as young as 13 or 14 when they're first selected. They're taken from their families and subjected to a lifestyle that's as glamorous as it is oppressive. While they enjoy luxuries unimaginable to most North Koreans, they're essentially prisoners in a gilded cage. The pleasure squad is divided into 3 distinct groups, each serving a specific purpose. There's an entertainment group responsible for singing and dancing at private gatherings. A massage team provides relaxation services. And then there's the group selected for sexual services, a stark reminder of the exploitation at the heart of this system. Perhaps the most shocking aspect of the pleasure squad is how it's viewed within North Korea. Yeonmi Park, a North Korean defector, revealed that parents often consent to their daughters being recruited. In a country where poverty and hunger are rampant, the promise of a better life, even one filled with exploitation, can seem like a lifeline. The existence of the pleasure squad highlights the vast gulf between Kim's public image and his private reality. While state media portrays him as a benevolent leader devoted to his people, behind closed doors he indulges in practices that would be considered human rights abuses in most of the world. These young women are sworn to secrecy about their experiences. Those who leave the pleasure squad, typically by their mid-20s, are often married off to members of the elite, particularly Kim's security detail. It's a way of ensuring their continued loyalty and silence, even after their service has ended. The pleasure squad serves multiple purposes for Kim's regime. Beyond providing entertainment and sexual services, it's a tool for rewarding loyalty among the elite. Access to these women is a privilege reserved for Kim's most trusted allies, creating another layer of exclusivity and control within his inner circle. Maintaining power through luxury, Kim Jong-un's lavish lifestyle isn't just about personal indulgence. It's a carefully crafted system designed to maintain power and control over North Korea's elite. The supreme leader uses luxury as a tool, rewarding loyalty with extravagant gifts that would make even the wealthiest billionaires raise an eyebrow. Imagine being a high-ranking North Korean official and receiving a brand new Mercedes-Benz as a thank you for your service. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's a reality in Kim's regime. In 2019, satellite imagery revealed a fleet of luxury vehicles being transported into North Korea, despite international sanctions prohibiting such imports. These weren't destined for car showrooms, but for Kim's inner circle as rewards for their unwavering support. But cars are just the tip of the iceberg. Kim's gift-giving extends to a wide range of luxury items. Swiss watches, high-end liquor, and even yachts have been reported as rewards for loyalty. It's a stark contrast to the lives of ordinary North Koreans who struggle with basic necessities. This system of lavish rewards serves multiple purposes. First, it creates a sense of privilege and exclusivity among the elite. Being in Kim's good graces means access to luxuries that are unimaginable to the average citizen. This fosters a sense of loyalty and dependence on the regime. Secondly, these gifts act as a form of control. The threat of losing access to such luxuries is a powerful motivator for continued loyalty. An official who falls out of favor doesn't just lose their position, they lose their entire lifestyle. The impact of this system on regime stability can't be overstated. By keeping the elite happy and well rewarded, Kim effectively insulates himself from potential coups or internal dissent. It's a classic case of bread and circuses, or in this case, caviar and Rolexes. However, this lavish gift-giving doesn't come without consequences. It puts immense strain on North Korea's already fragile economy. Resources that could be used to improve the lives of ordinary citizens are instead funneled into maintaining the loyalty of a select few. The international community has taken notice of these practices. Sanctions targeting luxury goods have been implemented in an attempt to cut off Kim's ability to reward his inner circle. But as we've seen, the regime has found ways to circumvent these restrictions. Office 39, the secret financial network we discussed earlier, plays a crucial role in procuring these luxury items. Through a complex web of shell companies and foreign intermediaries, they manage to import everything from high-end electronics to expensive liquor, all while evading international scrutiny. The impact of these practices on North Korea's international relations is significant. Every time a new shipment of luxury goods is discovered, It undermines the regime's credibility in diplomatic negotiations. How can Kim claim his country is suffering under sanctions when he's importing Italian leather sofas and French champagne? This disconnect between North Korea's public face and its private indulgences creates a unique challenge for international diplomacy. On one hand, sanctions are meant to pressure the regime into changing its behavior. On the other, they seem to have little impact on the lifestyle of Kim and his inner circle. The lavish displays of wealth also serve as a form of propaganda within North Korea itself. While the general population may not directly benefit from these luxuries, their existence reinforces the idea of North Korea as a prosperous and powerful nation. It's a carefully maintained illusion, but one that helps to keep the population in line. Kim's use of luxury to maintain power isn't a new tactic. His father and grandfather employed similar methods, but under Kim Jong-un, it's been taken to new heights. The young leader seems to understand the power of conspicuous consumption in maintaining loyalty. The role of women in Kim's regime. While Kim Jong-un's lavish lifestyle and brutal tactics grab headlines, there's another fascinating aspect of his regime that often goes overlooked: the role of women in his inner circle. In a country known for its patriarchal structure and traditional gender roles, a select few women wield surprising influence behind the scenes. At the forefront of this group is Kim's wife, Ri Sol-ju. Unlike the wives of previous North Korean leaders who remained largely invisible, Ri has taken on a more public role akin to a modern first lady. This shift represents a significant departure from North Korean tradition and seems designed to soften Kim's image, both domestically and internationally. Ri Sol-ju's background as a former singer in a well-known North Korean musical group made her instantly recognizable to the public when she first appeared alongside Kim. This familiarity helped to humanize the young leader and present him as more relatable to the average North Korean citizen. It's a carefully crafted image, one that serves the regime's propaganda purposes, while also signaling a certain degree of modernization. But Ri's role goes beyond mere window dressing. Reports suggest she has a moderating influence on Kim, often seen calming him during public events. This dynamic offers a glimpse into the personal side of the North Korean leader, showing a vulnerability that's rarely associated with his public persona. However, it's important to note that while Ri Sol-ju enjoys a more visible role than her predecessors, she doesn't hold any official leadership position within the regime. Her influence, while significant, is limited to the personal sphere and carefully managed public appearances. Even more intriguing is the role of Kim's sister, Yo Jong. Unlike Ri, Yo Jong has taken on official responsibilities within the regime, becoming a key player in North Korea's political landscape. She's been described as a de facto leader in the organization and guidance department, a powerful body within the North Korean government responsible for enforcing the regime's directives. Yo Jong's rise to prominence has been swift and remarkable. She's taken on diplomatic roles, representing North Korea in high-profile international events and acting as a spokesperson for her brother. Her sharp rhetoric and unwavering loyalty to the regime have earned her a reputation as Kim's most trusted advisor. But perhaps most significantly, Yo Jong is seen as a potential successor to her brother. In a country where leadership has been passed down through the male line for 3 generations, the mere possibility of a female leader represents a seismic shift in North Korean politics. Yet, like Ri Sol-ju, Yo Jong's power is ultimately derived from her relationship to Kim Jong-un. Despite her official roles and growing influence, she doesn't hold a formal leadership position within the regime's top echelons. Her authority is an extension of her brother's, highlighting the limits of female advancement even at the highest levels of North Korean society. The prominence of these 2 women in Kim's inner circle stands in stark contrast to the treatment of women in broader North Korean society. While Ri Sol-ju and Yo Jong enjoy privileges and influence unimaginable to most, the average North Korean woman faces significant challenges and restrictions. Women in North Korea are subject to strict societal norms and expectations. They're often relegated to traditional roles, with limited opportunities for education and career advancement. The contrast between their lives and those of the women in Kim's inner circle couldn't be more pronounced.